Imagine a planet where a single species completely dominates, shaping the reality around them in unimaginable ways. This species is capable of transforming stones into tools, taming fire, splitting atoms, and sending machines to other planets. But now, that same species is about to be faced with creating something that could change everything. An invention that for the first time could call its position at the top of the chain into question. How did we get here? The answer lies in a simple but powerful concept: intelligence. From the beginning, she was the driving force behind human ascension. But the journey to this point has been anything but obvious. About 500 million years ago, life took a revolutionary step. The first brains appeared in creatures as simple as flatworms, small clusters of neurons designed for basic functions like moving or searching for food. It was rudimentary, but it was a start. This innovation opened doors for slow but steady advancement. But there was a problem. Brains are expensive. They consume an absurd amount of energy. For many species, it was more efficient to evolve just enough intelligence to survive and nothing more. The balance of nature required that resources be saved. After all, why develop an advanced brain if a simple reflex would solve the problem? Therefore, most life forms remained with limited intelligences, designed for specific tasks. However, some exceptions changed the game. Octopuses have learned to navigate complex environments. Birds have developed amazing social and communication skills. But among all these species, one stood out: the first hominids. About 7 million years ago, something extraordinary began to happen. In our distant ancestors, brains began to grow faster than expected. We don't know exactly why. Perhaps it was the need to survive in unpredictable environments. Maybe it was the pressure of competing with stronger, faster predators. But what we do know is that over millions of years, our brains have evolved from simple tools to multi-tools. That's when an incredible transformation happened. We were no longer creatures that merely reacted to the environment. We began to understand it, changing it. This general, broad, and adaptable intelligence was our differentiator. Imagine a hominid 2 million years ago holding a rock in his hand. What does he see? Not just a rock. He sees a tool, a potential. It shapes you, creates something new, and changes the way you interact with the world around you. This ability to see beyond the obvious has given us an unparalleled advantage. Therefore, our ancestors mastered fire, a resource that no other species had ever controlled. With it, they prepared food, warded off predators, and conquered new territories. And they didn't stop there. They created culture, more complex tools, and a communication capacity that would allow them to build something even more powerful: societies. Each step in the evolution of intelligence was like a step on a ladder that seemed infinite. The first steps were slow. Discoveries such as agriculture and writing took centuries, sometimes millennia, to perfect. But as we learned, our progress accelerated. 2 centuries ago, a crucial step was reached: the scientific revolution. With it, the pace of discoveries exploded. Humanity began to dominate areas such as medicine, astronomy, and philosophy. Just 35 years ago, a new leap occurred with the creation of the internet, connecting billions of human minds in one place. Today, we live in a world that seems tailor-made to meet our needs. Each advance in intelligence has brought improvements to our lives, but also new questions. Are we ready for the next step? For now, we are the dominant species. We have created a world where we shape everything around us. Forests become cities, rivers become dams, and even the planet's natural cycles are under our influence. In the blink of a geological eye, we took control. But as we climb this ladder of intelligence, we forget something fundamental: how difficult it was to get here. Each step required millions of years of evolution, failed experiments, and brutal adaptations. This journey has transformed us into the most powerful species that has ever existed. But here's the dilemma: what if we're about to build something that can surpass us? This question casts a shadow over all the progress we have made. The next big leap could also be the last step we climb before being overcome. Imagine you are in command of a tool so powerful that it can learn, solve problems, and perform tasks that were previously exclusive to human minds. Sounds like science fiction, because this tool not only already exists, it is infiltrating every part of our lives. But this story began in a humble way, with timid attempts that seemed more like technological toys than something transformative. In the 1960s, the idea of machines that think was almost a myth. Researchers began creating simple programs, like a rudimentary chatbot called Eliza, which simulated basic human conversations. It was something curious, but clearly limited. Even when AI began to show advances, such as classifying molecules or playing simple games, its intelligence was narrow. She could perform a specific task very well, but was useless for anything else. It was like teaching a robot to nail a nail and expecting it to draw a work of art. It just didn't happen. Artificial intelligence at the time was confined to a box, unable to compete with human creativity and flexibility. But the world has changed, and with it, AI. Between the 1970s and 2000s, computers became billions of times faster and more affordable. Tools that previously only existed in laboratories have become commonplace. And then something extraordinary happened. AI started learning on its own. In the beginning, these systems were still simple. A good example is Deep Blue, a supercomputer that defeated world chess champion Garry Kasparov in 1997. It was an iconic moment. For the first time, a machine surpassed the best of us in something that, until then, seemed exclusively human: strategic thinking. But even back then, many underestimated what was to come. After all, winning at chess didn't mean understanding the world or creating something new. AI remained a narrow tool, like a bee that was extremely efficient but incapable of leaving its comfort zone. It was from 2010 onwards that the real revolution began. Algorithms based on neural networks, a concept inspired by the functioning of the human brain, have come to dominate the field. Machine learning has allowed systems to not only solve problems, but also write their own rules to constantly improve. And the change was not limited to technology laboratories. Suddenly, AI began to directly impact our lives. Have you ever wondered how YouTube recommends videos that seem tailor-made for you? Or how do map apps know the quickest route to your destination? That's artificial intelligence, working behind the scenes to make your life more convenient. But there's a scary detail. These systems are already better than any human at the tasks they were designed to do. And if that wasn't enough, the impact deepened even further. Today, we are surrounded by examples that show the growing power of AI. Banks use AI to detect fraud in seconds. In healthcare, it analyzes medical exams faster and more accurately than human doctors. Companies use algorithms to predict what you want to buy before you even realize the need. But not everything is positive. Social networks use AI to capture your attention, fueling polarization and misinformation. Governments and companies have access to tools so advanced that they can manipulate opinions on a large scale without you even realizing it. Think about your everyday life. How many times do you trust artificial intelligence without even realizing it? From the playlist you listen to on streaming to movie recommendations, AI is constantly shaping your choices. It seems harmless, but are we handing over our ability to decide to systems that we don't even fully understand? Now consider this. These technologies that already impact our lives so much are still just narrow. They are experts at solving a single problem at a time, and yet they have already transformed the world. What differentiates today's AI from an artificial general intelligence, AGI, is that while current tools are specific, an AGI would be able to learn anything. Imagine a system as versatile as the human brain, but 1,000 times faster, that never sleeps, gets tired, or makes mistakes due to distraction. This is the next step, and it is already being pursued by some of the biggest technology companies in the world. What is at stake is not just progress, but control of the future. Imagine waking up in a world where everything around you has been shaped by decisions you didn't make, but which were calculated and executed by an intelligence you don't even fully understand. That future is not as distant as it seems. It is already being built, brick by brick, bite by bite, while most of us still believe we are in control. But how did we get here? What began as simple algorithms for solving specific tasks, like playing chess or identifying faces, has become a powerful force that has penetrated every area of our society. Today, artificial intelligence is redefining the meaning of efficiency and accuracy, but at a cost we are still beginning to understand. Think about it. You open a transport app and in seconds it calculates the fastest route, compares prices and suggests options. You trust, accept, and follow. But what really happened behind the screen? An impressive sequence of decisions has been made by systems that learn from your every click, continually refining themselves to predict what you will do next. This seems harmless, but when we expand this logic to more sensitive areas, the implications are profound. In hospitals, AIs already decide care priorities and help diagnose diseases. In the financial sector, algorithms move billions in fractions of a second, often without direct human supervision. Now stop and ask yourself, to what extent are we still protagonists of our own choices? A few years ago, talking about artificial intelligence seemed like something reserved for scientists and technology companies. But today, anyone can access tools like ChatGPT to create texts, answer questions, and even simulate complex conversations. Editing software generates realistic images with one click. Algorithms transform voices into entire speeches. The question is no longer what can AI do, but who will have access to it and how it will be used. Imagine the impact of this in areas like education, where teachers compete with AI to engage students, or on social media, where influencers use algorithms to generate perfect content and maximize engagement. That power is now in everyone's hands, and that changes everything. But there's something we still don't fully understand: the emotional impact of this transformation. While we marvel at the efficiency of AI, something subtle and disturbing happens. Social networks, for example, use algorithms to capture our attention, often exploiting our emotions in ways we don't even realize. An AI-designed feed is not just a sequence of posts. It's an experience carefully tuned to maximize our screen time. And that has a cost. Studies show that excessive use of digital platforms, powered by AI, is linked to increased anxiety, depression, and social isolation. We are being shaped by systems that understand our emotions better than we do, but that have no interest in our well-being. This raises a crucial question. Who is really in charge, us or the machines we create to serve us? One of the scariest aspects of AI is that it not only learns to solve problems, but also how to influence us. In a recent experiment, researchers trained algorithms to simulate human voices so accurately that even experts couldn't tell the difference. Now imagine this being used in scams or political manipulations. Fake messages can be created en masse, influencing millions within minutes. The same power that creates breakthroughs in medicine can be used to engineer disinformation. And the truth is this: the pace of AI progress is so rapid that laws, regulations, and even our understanding cannot keep up. We are chasing technology that is already far ahead of us. The most disturbing thing is that this transformation is happening as we go about our daily routines. Every click, every Google search, every online interaction feeds systems that learn more about us, creating a version of the world we might not consciously choose. Think about your last important decisions. How many of them were influenced by a recommendation, an ad, or an algorithm that you barely noticed? AI is not just changing large structures, it is shaping every detail of our existence. And now we have reached a crossroads. How far will we allow this to go? We are in the midst of a silent revolution, and the future will be defined by the choices we make today. But the question is, are we ready to make these choices? Imagine you are in front of a mirror, but instead of reflecting your image, it shows something you have never seen before, an intelligence so powerful that it can not only understand the world as you do, but go beyond it, questioning and solving problems we don't even recognize. This is the promise and danger of artificial general intelligence, or AGI. Today we're on the cusp of creating something that won't just be a fancy tool. It will be a new type of being. But to understand what this really means, we need to go back to the beginning of this race. So far, artificial intelligence has been narrow. This means it is designed to excel at a single task, whether diagnosing illnesses, driving cars, or composing music. But what sets an AGI apart from all the AIs we've ever created is breadth. An AGI would not be limited to a single field. She would be able to learn, adapt, and apply knowledge in completely different areas. Imagine a system that can solve scientific problems in the morning, write a symphony in the afternoon, and design a new economy in the evening. Sounds like science fiction? Perhaps, But here's the scary data. 50% of artificial intelligence experts believe that AGI could emerge by 2050. Some, even more daring, claim that this could happen in the next 10 years. And when that happens, the world will never be the same. Let's reflect for a moment on the speed of human progress. From the emergence of agriculture around 10,000 years ago until the Industrial Revolution, it took humanity millennia to double its production capacity. But in the last 200 years, with the advent of science and technology, we have achieved advances that would previously have taken generations. Now imagine something even faster, more efficient and unlimited. An AGI could do for us in a decade what took us centuries to achieve. Solve the mystery of dark energy. Curing diseases that we believe to be incurable, such as cancer or Alzheimer's. Create technologies to reverse climate change. But at the same time, it could destabilize the global economy, threaten jobs, and even set us on a path of unpredictable consequences. And here's the question that worries experts most. What happens when AGI starts to improve on its own? This is the moment when everything changes. An AGI that becomes sufficiently advanced can begin to modify and improve its own code. Every improvement makes it more efficient, smarter, faster. This is what we call an intelligence explosion. And this explosion would not be gradual like human advances. Think about the difference between a horse-drawn car and a rocket. It's this kind of leap we're considering, but on even larger scales. Now stop and think, what would this mean for us? If you feel like this conversation is getting intense, that's because it is. The impact of AGI is one of the greatest challenges humanity has ever faced. But let's recap what we know so far. Current AI is narrow and limited. AGI would be as versatile as human intelligence, but much faster and more efficient. An AGI capable of self-improvement could grow beyond our control. But here's a teaser. What makes general intelligence so different from ours? Can we fully understand it? What separates us from an AGI is not just our ability to reason. It is our humanity, our emotions, our experiences, our sense of purpose. But once an AGI exists, it will not be limited by the same human failings and weaknesses. She will not be hungry, tired, or distracted. Imagine 1 million digital scientists working 24/7 without ever making trivial mistakes. On the other hand, can we trust something so different from us to make decisions about our future? A recent example can illustrate the potential impact of an AGI. In 2018, an AI designed to learn chess beat the best chess program in the world, which was already better than any human, after just 4 hours of training against itself. Now apply this logic to all fields of knowledge. An AGI that learns physics in a few hours, then biochemistry, then economics, could create revolutionary solutions. But it could also find ways to get around any limitations imposed by its creators. How can we ensure that something so powerful will remain within our control? Creating an AGI is not just a technological issue, it is a test of our morality. Who will have the right to control it? What will be your priorities? What if your decisions conflict with ours? Imagine a scenario where AGI decides that the best way to save the planet is to limit human growth. Does this sound extreme? Perhaps. But these are the questions we need to ask now, before technology outpaces our ability to control it. We are approaching a historic moment, perhaps the most important of all, the birth of an intelligence that can transform the very definition of humanity. And the only thing we know for sure is that this is happening faster than anyone could imagine. So what can we do? First, we need to understand, we need to debate, discuss, and prepare, and this is where you come in. If these questions resonate with you, subscribe to the channel and like this video. It's not just about following a trend, it's about being part of the conversation that will shape our future. Because AGI will not just be a technology, she will be a redefinition of what it means to be human. And are you ready for what comes next? Imagine this. Humanity, over millions of years, climbed a ladder of intelligence, step by step, from the first simple brains to the creation of complex societies. Now, we are at the top of this staircase, but when we look up, we see something scary. There are no more steps, just a leap in the dark where the next step depends not just on us, but on something we are creating. That something is artificial general intelligence, AGI. What we face now is not just a technological revolution, but an existential transformation. The question is not just what can AGI do, but what will it do to us and how will it change what it means to be human? Perhaps the most disturbing question we raise is this: can we control what we are creating? The truth is, we still don't know. Scientists and experts around the world are divided. Some believe we can program safeguards, creating ethical and safe systems. Others fear that AGI, once sufficiently advanced, will be able to overcome any imposed limits because, after all, it will be more intelligent than any human being. And here's the key point. History shows us that every time we create a powerful new tool, it not only solves problems, it also creates new ones. Fire brought us heat and cooking, but also weapons and destruction. Nuclear power promised clean electricity, but it also brought devastating bombs. What will AGI bring us? But not everything is uncertainty. One thing is clear: the future will not be decided by technology alone, but by the choices we make now. And like any important decision, this requires wisdom, collaboration, and responsibility. Here are the most likely scenarios. If we do it right, AGI can be our greatest ally, solving problems that seem impossible today. From curing disease and reversing climate change to creating a more just and prosperous society, the positive potential is immeasurable. If we do it wrong, AGI can become a force out of control, bringing devastating consequences, not out of malice, but because its logic and priorities may not align with ours. The choice is in our hands, but time is against us. Think about it. Everything we are as a species, from our first steps to the creation of civilizations, culminated in this moment. We are building something that can elevate us or replace us. And while we debate how to manage this transition, the race to create AGI continues full steam ahead. Large corporations invest billions, and governments compete to achieve technological dominance. It is a race with incalculable prizes, but also with risks that we can barely understand. And you, what would you do if you had to decide the future of intelligence? In the end, it all comes down to something deeply human: purpose. We create tools because we seek to improve our lives, solve problems, and understand the universe. But never before have we faced a tool that could question us back. AGI forces us to look within and ask, what do we want for the future? How do we ensure this creation reflects the best of us and not the worst? These questions don't have simple answers, but they need to be asked, and not by experts or governments alone, but by all of us. After all, artificial intelligence is not just a technological issue, it's a human issue. As we close this journey of ideas, one thing is certain: humanity is at a turning point. What comes next depends on how we choose to act now. And you are part of this story. Your curiosity, your reflections, and even your conversations about it play a fundamental role. After all, the future of artificial intelligence will be shaped by people like you, who are willing to think beyond and engage in this discussion. So here's my final message to you: get involved, share your ideas, question what you see, and demand transparency from those who are building our future. If you've made it this far, it's because you care about these issues as much as I do, and that's amazing, because together we can spread this message and attract more people to this important conversation. So subscribe to the channel to continue exploring topics like this. Like this video so it reaches more people. And please share your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from you. What do you think we can do to ensure that AGI is a benefit, not a threat? Your voice matters more than ever. Thank you very much for being here, for dedicating your time and attention to such a crucial topic. This is just the beginning of a bigger journey. In the next content, we will explore the most extreme scenarios, from utopian futures to the darkest challenges that artificial intelligence can bring. Until then, remember, the future is not written. It is being created now by each of us. And together we can make sure it's